In the dim light of a rainy afternoon, a county investigator turned the brass knob of a door that hadn't been opened in decades. The hinges groaned, dust drifted into the hallway, and there, in the stale air of that small windowless room, lay the first real clue to Eliza Hartwell's fate in over 20 years. A clue so strange that some believe it wasn't meant to be found at all. Last time, we uncovered the mysterious postcard sent in Eliza's handwriting, decades after her disappearance, and the undeveloped film canister found in a library book returned. That single roll of film revealed a haunting image. The Winslow Harbor lighthouse, seen through a window, and the faint reflection of a woman's face. A face that could be Eliza's. But the photo didn't just raise questions, it also gave investigators a location. The angle of the shot and the unique frame of the window matched one place in the entire Winslow area. The top floor of an abandoned boarding house on Harbor Street. The building had once been a residence for seasonal dock workers. But it was condemned in 1987 after a fire damaged part of its structure. Since then, it had been boarded up, weather-beaten by salt air and storms. When officers arrived to search the property in late 2021, they found the main door padlocked from the outside. Inside, the air smelled of mildew and sea rot. Paint peeled from the walls in long curling strips. Every window had been nailed shut, except one, on the third floor. The lighthouse window from the photograph. Behind it, they discovered a door secured with 2 separate locks. The metal was rusted, but both had been opened recently. Faint scrape marks on the hasps and dust patterns suggested the door had been moved. The room was small, no more than 8 feet across, and almost completely bare. In the corner sat an old wooden chair, its paint flaking away. Next to it, a stack of black and white photographs bound together with twine. The photographs were all of Eliza Hartwell. Some appeared to be candid shots from the 1990s. Her walking along the pier, leaning against a lamppost, drinking coffee at the Winslow Cafe. But others were different. They were dated within the last 10 years. In those newer images, Eliza's hair was streaked with gray. She looked thinner, older, but unmistakably herself. Her expression, in every one of those photos, was neutral, almost resigned. And in all but one, she was seated in the same wooden chair found in the room. The final photograph in the stack was different. It was taken from outside, through the lighthouse window. Eliza was looking directly at the lens, just like in the earlier picture from the film canister. But this time, her lips were parted, forming what looked like a single word. Investigators brought in a forensic lip reader. The conclusion was unsettling. The word appeared to be, run. But from what, or from whom? The evidence suggested Eliza had been in that room multiple times over the past decade. But there were no signs of struggle and no fingerprints, other than hers on the photographs. Whoever took those images had either worn gloves or cleaned the scene meticulously. That's when a woman from across the street came forward. She'd lived in Winslow Harbor her entire life, and had always kept an eye on the old boarding house. She told police that about twice a year, a man in a Navy windbreaker would arrive late at night. He carried a leather satchel and stayed for only an hour or two before leaving. She never saw him bring anyone in or out. But once, about 3 years earlier, she'd glimpsed movement in the third-floor window. When asked to describe it, she said it was like someone leaning forward, just to watch the street, like they wanted to be seen. Among the few belongings in the room was a small metal tin tucked inside the seat of the wooden chair. Inside, police found a folded piece of paper. A hand-drawn map of Winslow Harbor, with 3 locations marked in red ink. One was the lighthouse. The second was the boarding house itself. The third was the address of an abandoned photography studio just outside town. That studio had been Eliza's workplace in the months before her disappearance. The decision was made to search the studio immediately. When officers pried open the warped door, they stepped into a space frozen in time, cameras still on shelves, yellowed prints scattered on the floor. And in the back, behind a rotting velvet curtain, stood a single metal filing cabinet. Every drawer was locked, except one. Inside was a thick envelope labeled Hartwell, 1999. And in that envelope was something that completely rewrote the timeline of her disappearance. But that is where we'll pick up next time. You've been watching Cryptic Stories Vault. Subscribe and turn on notifications. In Part 3, we open the envelope marked Hartwell, 1999, and uncover the evidence someone has been hiding for over 2 decades.